Halloween Havoc, Chico. It's gonna be awful scary.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? The Job Guys back with you one more time. Nitro Nick is here. Ryan is here. And Nick, we are running back one of possibly the absolute worst pay-per-views of all time. It is spooky season. It is Halloween season. It's October, and that means Halloween Havoc. And this time, you know, there's a lot to choose from, but somehow Halloween Havoc 1999 is almost the consensus worst Halloween Havoc of all time. Going back and watching this top to bottom for the first time in 25 years since we watched it live back in college. Yeah, it's up there. This is one of the worst pay-per-views of all time, Nick.
And it's a hard bar to pass. How as much credit as WCW gives Halloween Havoc, it's kind of almost like their Rumble or their SummerSlam. It's one of their top pay-per-views, you know.
Bischoff says it's more than Starrcade. He says it's their number one show.
You've got to be kidding me.
This one is pretty incredible, the things that happen, and we are going to talk about obviously the pay-per-view and just the chaos that happened on this show, but then the chaos before and after as well. If you're just joining us for the first time, thank you so much. Our Run It Back shows, we go through just kind of the culture of the company at the time, and then at the end, after we talk about everything, we have categories: best match, worst match, funniest moment of the night, what aged the best, what's the legacy of the pay-per-view. We'll go through all those at the end of the show. This one, Nick, is really known for. This is the start of the Vince Russo era. If you're not up on WCW, I'm sure you've heard about this. Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara leave the WWF at its peak, the beginning, I think around Labor Day or so. They come to WCW to take over the writing of the show. And they tell you right away, hey, we got new writers. We got new writers coming from New York. So they're automatically incorporating that into what's going to happen here. And everything kind of changes. And you can't really blame them, Nick. Like, if it's going to be their company and they're going to rewrite things and make it the more WWF way, you know, they have to change some things. But the lead up and the build into this pay-per-view and then the pay-per-view itself, it's just total chaos. You know, one guy's a heel and then all of a sudden he's acting like a good guy and the announcers are pumping him a little bit. There was so many different things that happened, which we'll get into, that just made no sense. And then you get to this pay-per-view and all hell breaks loose.
And I hope people do remember, and you know, I am not one to defend Russo. I am not a Russo fan. But remember where WCW was at this point.
That's right, it stinks!
Yeah. They had to try something, Ryan.
It stinks!
I mean, they were going downhill fast.
Someplace stinks!
A lot of people gave the credit for Austin, The Rock, a lot of that to Russo.
Yep.
So they brought him in. I think what you saw, and I've talked to you about this, you're bringing in a shotgun offense on a team that's ran option for the last 20 years, and you're going to switch to a shotgun hurry up right now. And you saw it happen, and it almost became, to me, looking back now, I'm watching the cover band. Like, it's Raw, but it's not Raw. It's Raw with guys who don't work with what they're doing. I don't blame Russo for trying. I don't blame WCW for hiring him, but it didn't work.
We went and we watched some of the Nitros before this pay-per-view just to get the feel of whatever. And when it first happens, they go to the desk right away, which is Bobby Heenan and Tony Schiavone. And they immediately say Russo and Ferrara are here from WWF. They straight out say the name WWF, which was sort of shocking, admitting, we sucked. Now we're going to be better because these guys are now writing the show. But by saying writing the show, you're telling everyone, yes, this was fake. Even though we knew, you don't come out and say it. And that becomes a theme throughout the next 3 months where they're constantly telling you things like that. Brett comes out and interrupts the first match just for no reason. Isn't Sting feuding with Hulk, but now he's going to fight Brett the week before the pay-per-view? What in the world's going on? Hall and Nash are there at ringside for 2 weeks in a row leading up to the pay-per-view. They said they bought tickets. We had not seen them. Hall for quite a while. He had not seen Nash since he got beat by Hogan at Road Wild or Hog Wild or whatever it was called at that point. They start saying stuff like we're getting the band back together, but I don't think anybody really understood what, like maybe some people did. I know right away I didn't. I don't know how you felt. Just random stuff though. And here comes the big one to me, Nick. Buff Bagwell takes on La Parka. La Parka beats Buff Bagwell, who they were pushing pretty big as a good guy at this point.
And these are the nitros before for people.
These are the nitros. This is what leads.
We're not at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, this is what leads up to this pay-per-view and how everything has changed. And he gets on the mic and he starts saying stuff. He says, "Did I do a good job for you?" to the new writers in the back. And he starts talking about how he's the chosen one. Everybody on the internet said, I was the chosen one. I'm the one. I'm going to be the guy. I have got the stroke around here. Now, none of that meant anything to anybody at the time. Well, then a week later, Jeff Jarrett shows up after he held up Vince, lost to China, shows up. So he's already been knocked down a peg because he got beat by a woman the night before. He shows up here. Now it all makes sense in hindsight. The stroke. I'm the chosen one. And this whole gimmick now is the new writers want me to be the man. And that, again, brings up the whole mess with everything. Wait a minute. It's all scripted. We have writers. But this over here is real.
Right.
But this is fake. But this is real. All the other stuff that happened the last hour and a half, yeah, that's that's writing. But that Buff stuff really happened.
That doesn't make sense.
He really got screwed. And they do that numerous times. I don't believe this is real. And they're trying to convince you that it is. It's just...
Ryan, it's why people... And
it's even worse now, Nick, than looking back on it 25 years ago.
Yes, it is. And it's one of the reasons I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for this. That's why I hate Deadpool, Ryan. We talked about that. He talks to the screen.
Yeah. Breaks the fourth wall.
I get it that it's cool and you think you're in on something and you can look at someone down the seatway like, oh, they don't know what I know.
Yeah.
You're telling me it's fake, though. I don't want to hear that while I'm watching it. This completely, Ryan, I remember even as a younger person, I did not like this, Ryan. I did not like them coming out, saying like the writers are in the back. They're even going to move ahead in a few weeks to literally the writers are going to become on-screen characters where you see their hands from the desk and people are going back and asking them permission. And it's the same thing as you wrote. Why should you just said, I'm sorry, why should I care if it's a scripted match?
Right.
If you're telling me this match, this guy is being pushed or this guy is supposed to job, I get it in the back of my head. I know it's not, it's predetermined. Don't come out and tell me like, oh my goodness. In this, I don't know. This has never worked for me, brother. Like to break down that wall. And go at
the wall, brother.
That's the wall up there, brother.
Oh man, the wall. He's coming.
He's coming. Then, we don't know it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, the wall. But yeah, I don't know what they thought they were achieving. And remember, Russo's idea of a show, his words, not mine, Crash TV, Jerry Springer, make sure they don't change the channel, say stuff that shocks them. And I guess, telling
Swerve,
people.
Bro.
Yeah.
Swerve, bro.
Telling people it's not real. I mean, I guess it shocks people, but it also makes me say, well, then why am I wasting my time here?
Well,
like,
you got to do it, don't you, Nick? If you're going to do that, let's say, okay, that's a good idea. If you're going to do that, don't you have to do it for everything at that point? Not just some of this is, half of this is real, half of it's fake. Half the guys are rebelling, half of them aren't. Shouldn't they all be rebelling at that point?
And Ryan, if you agree with us, we have this same problem with today's product. you can't exist in two different worlds, Ryan. You're all in the same locker room. I can't have demons and the dark side, and these people come out and murder people at one segment, and then they just come back after well, here's LA Knight. I know they don't even
Or
well,
those same people that murdered people wrestling a match the next week.
Yes, and now they understand tag
Now
rules.
I know the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a murderer. I mean, but yeah, and this guy got suspended for interrupting a title match. Well, this guy just executed someone in the back. What?
Now I have to hold the tag rope, though. That's
I don't understand the rule, but this is where you gotta be careful to not. Yeah, we've said this. Wrestling exists in a realm of its own reality. Yeah, there are rules within the wrestling world. You can't just tell me a guy can fly.
right.
It doesn't work for me.
Brother.
And that's kind of what we're getting. The writers here, when they're just coming out Bagwell, and again, I think they are feeding off the internet, because a lot of people, you and me being one of them, were big on Bagwell for a period of time.
Yeah.
And people are and what they're doing is they're throwing proverbial carrot on a string, to those people who are watching the internet. Okay, we hear you that you think he's the chosen one, or he's big, and maybe I've said, Russo said he's big, and they're playing off of that, but I don't know, it just doesn't work for me, Ryan.
Well, and we're seeing it still to this day. And I've said it for the last 5 years, and I'll continue to say it. Russo was the originator of this, playing to the internet audience, which is fine. That's fine. Except for your internet audience is a niche of a niche. You are placating to, I don't know, a couple 100,000 people, as opposed to what you used to get for ratings being 5 million, 3 million, whatever it was back in the day. Now you're down to a couple 100,000, and you're still seeing that today on certain nights of the week, where instead of maybe all the swerves and this is real, this isn't, you're just trying to put on 5-star matches, which only certain amount of people care about that. And guess what? Look at the ratings. They're going down again. So that's the background, Nick. Anything else on the background before we get into this pay-per-view? Just all the chaos.
It just felt shocking, Ryan. I will give them this. The first night, 2 Nitros previous, it felt a little different. The Nitro, the go-home show, I really felt like I am watching a new program. Like, this is weird. Yeah. Like, this is not Nitro. And again, me and you, we're not Raw guys. Not that we weren't watching Raw. I knew what was on the other channel. It wasn't that I was unaware of it. I just didn't want to watch it, Ryan. I didn't want to watch people give birth to a hand. I didn't want to watch people make out with Mae Young.
What about a foot?
A foot.
That's okay.
I didn't want to watch, and I mean, I know I sound lame with this. I didn't want to watch people just rip off, okay, here's a girl half naked on the show. Okay, great.
Right. We'll get into that a little more, Nick, because that's where I was going to go before we get into this actual pay-per-view. You and we watched both. I had 2 TVs everywhere I went in college, whether it was in the dorm, in the great room, down in the dorm, in my room, wherever. I had 2 TVs. I
often recorded Raw.
But I still was watching WCW a little more. I did not like the attitude. I didn't like the smut TV, like you just said. Hey, just bring out a naked girl. Okay, great. I didn't like all that. Obviously, they had some good stuff, but I still, as bad as WCW got in '99, I was still more the WCW bandwagon. I still did care more about Goldberg, Hogan, Sting, Hall, Nash, all those guys. Buff, name a guy. I still cared more about those guys. I was a little concerned with Russo coming in because I did not want it to turn into smut TV. I did not want that. I didn't want every other word getting bleeped and all this stuff. And that's end up what we got.
What it was.
Now, I was interested because I knew they needed new life. They needed something. But I was a little concerned. And as we found out, there wasn't much good coming out of this. There really wasn't.
And it was crash TV from start to finish. Ryan, we're watching these Nitros before. There's segments they feel like they don't end. Like
Right.
it cut away in the like. Wait a minute, maybe you needed like 3, 4, 5, 6 more seconds here. There's like you said, people start feuding. It's like 98, but everybody's Hogan. This guy's feuding with this guy. This guy's feud. It's like 7 shades of Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon out
It
here.
all runs together.
Yeah, everybody's tied together, and the Revolution's feuding with the Filthy Animals. Filthy Animals are feuding with the Harlem Heat. Booker T's got something with somebody else. It's so weird that everybody's on it, and I again, they tried something new. It just did not work, Ryan.
And we'll get into that as we break down match by match, because in the segments in the back, because you do see that in this pay-per-view where stuff just runs together and you're like, whoa, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
All right, so it's Halloween Havoc. It is once again in Las Vegas. That was kind of their home there the last couple of years at the MGM. They had 8,464 in attendance, lower than the years before. The buy rate, 230,000 buys, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for WCW, that actually was a pretty good number. And then especially when you look back at Fall Brawl the month before that, it only got 130. And the main event of that was Red and Yellow Hogan against heel Sting. And obviously people didn't want to see that.
People were interested in Russo coming over. There was that what's going to happen feeling.
Yep. And Halloween Havoc is one of their bigger, maybe their number 2 pay-per-view. So people, wanted to see that. The card, people were into the Goldberg Sid feud.
The card looks, 2 top matches look odd. Goldberg, Sid, Hogan, Sting.
Right.
Main events.
And there's some other ones too, man. So, but I'll tell you what, dude, we already talked about how big of a circus leading into this was. This pay-per-view, I swear to you, dude, we always call WrestleMania 15 Russo Mania, because it's WrestleMania 15 thinks there's too much going on this pay-per-view, dude. It is 3-ring circus, man. This is like, instead of Russo and Ferrara, it was Barnum and Bailey, dude. This was just insane what was going on this pay-per-view. So it starts out, dude. The entrance looks cool. Like when you see it, whatever, pumpkins or whatever, what does that have to do with wrestling? But it looks cool. And for a WCW, it actually looks cool.
I'm sorry. It's fine. Yes, I like it.
They tell us right away, dude. They go right to the desk. And the first thing out of the gate, we got chaos right out of the gate. We got breaking news. Rey Mysterio is hurt. They just won the belts the week before. He looks perfectly fine once they show him as well. They're like, his knee is hurt, so they've stripped the belts. We got a brand new tag team match now, and it's going to be a 3-way, Filthy Animals, Harlem Heat, Nasty Boys for the tag belts. Oh, and by the way, it's an anything goes, anywhere they go match. No, like, every match on this card is just stipulations, chaos. So they add a stipulation right out of the gate. So we have that, which was quite the show when we get there. First match, there's not much to say here. It's Disco Inferno, Cruiserweight Champion, taking on Lash LaRue. Now, if you want to rip on Disco, I know that's like the cool thing to do on the internet right now. Like, people don't like the guy. That's fine. I don't know. I never really wanted to watch the guy. Because he says things people don't want to hear. But Lash LaRue, God bless the guy, but
he's awful. There's nothing there.
You should have never been on my TV.
And you know what? People can rip the Disco, dude. I'm sorry, dude. He did the best he could with a bad gimmick. He reminds me often of Terry Taylor with the Rooster. Yeah, the gimmick's awful, but he did the best he could, Ryan. There is no other way around this. And I don't think he's that bad. Like, I mean, I get it. Is he main event or anything like that? No, but he's not that bad.
I'm not even going to go that far, but yeah, I mean, this whole thing, though, is just hilarious. Like, classic WCW right out of the gate. Like, Lash LaRue's music is just one guitar riff over and over and over again. Yeah. Totally generic WCW. So, like we said, like, the entrance looked cool and it looks all right. And then you just hear some cheap generic guitar riff over and over again. The only thing about this match, Nick, and it becomes a theme throughout the show and the next year of WCW's existence, Disco wins Lash then jumps Disco after the bell, does his finisher, which is some twirling powerbomb thing, right on the belt. They miss it. They completely miss it. They don't cut to it. So then you have to see it on the replay. They completely miss it.
And this is the start of this. This is not the last time they do this on the show. I mean, this was so bad. And the worst, Disco's so huge to be a cruiser.
Yeah, he wasn't jacked. He was definitely jacked. We go to the back, and now we start with the backstage stuff here. They go to the back. Revolution is walking in the building, and Swerve, which we'll find out later. They like split up. Dean and Benoit don't want anything to do with Perry Saturn. They walk away from him. And you're like, oh, man. And they'd been teasing that for a couple of weeks. So they break up. Then they go to the back, and we got a Harlem Heat interview.
Booker T, this is also another great thing, cuts a promo on how tough of a life he has had and how hard of a life he's had growing up on the hard streets. Tanae, I can relate to that.
Dude, yeah. So you spoiled my funniest moment of the night.
Oh, sorry, man. That's fine.
Dude, it is one of the fun. It almost made it worth watching because Tanae is about the whitest dude of all time as it is. And,
dude, and Al Gore thing is more of a thuggish guy than Mike Tanae, man. Like
I got it quoted, dude. And we'll spoil the funny.
Mike Pence, Al
Booker
Gore,
T goes,
Tanae.
It won't be long before we get the titles back around our waist. Now, can you dig that? And Tanae goes, I can relate to that. It is the whitest thing you've ever heard, man. It's just hilarious. I can relate to that. Totally deadpan.
You have to know who Mike Tanae is too, folks. I mean, he's just a move guy. Like, he's the third announcer on a 3-team panel.
Right.
And he just calls moves and tells you, like, oh, that move was derived in ancient Japan with the samurais back in,
He's like the historian of the cruiserweights and the luchadors and stuff. And, dude, it was just hilarious.
I'm sorry I bopped that for ruining that.
No, that's good. We'll get that out of the way, man. So it's the Nasty Boys, although it's not. It's Knobs and Hugh Morris, who Shivani always has to say humorous, so you get the joke.
Get it?
He always has to say that. Harlem Heat, filthy animals, who come down wearing the tag belts, even though they just got stripped of the tag belts.
Yeah,
and
they're stripped, but they
Kidman and Conan.
What's going on?
Somebody forgot to go get the belts from them, so they come
Bobby. We should mention that Bobby does comment. Brian Knobbs is looking great at this point in his career. I mean, he's definitely
best shape of his life. Best shape of his life. I think Miguel Cabrera is the only one who's in better shape every year. It's a street fight for no reason. They also tell you that there is 2 referees in this match, which is weird because there's never 2 referees. Then once again, Russo, Billy Kidman has a camcorder for some reason, and they sell that. Whoa, this is a new twist to the animals. Oh yeah, super big twist. The guy's got a camera. Whoa.
He found Best Buy.
It's like, like he learned some new finisher or something. Guys, there's a new twist here. He has is that a Sony? What is that? Like,
oh my God, dude.
So then he hands the thing. And again, here's Russo. Once again, another theme. This is GTV, isn't it? Didn't Goldust, he had the camera that was behind the scenes. So now we got Kid Cam. Come up with something else. So apparently you can't. Stevie throws Knobs. Did you see this? They were at ringside, and I think it was Bill Apter taking pictures, but there's some lady with him, and Stevie just whips Knobs into this lady while she's standing. Just smokes this lady who's standing there. Hilarious. Booker kicks Stevie into a 10-foot high pile of empty cardboard boxes that are just stacked in the back for no reason. Yeah, that really hurts. Cardboard boxes.
That really hurts.
There are 1,000 of the same box Stacked
Yeah,
up.
well, you should tell people they separated in this match. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the new Nasty Boys, Hugh Morris is stuck in the ring versus the Filthy Animals. Brian Knobbs is in the back now fighting Harlem Heat. And they can't get the cameras set. So they can't cover, like, we do World War III where there's 45,000 people in a ring and we somehow get them all on here. But not with 6 people. Like, that is just way too many. So they're only following the Nasties in the back. I mean, I'm sorry, Knobs and the Heat in the back.
They don't cut back to the ring like ever.
Oh.
So there's still people fighting everywhere. For whatever reason, there is a dummy from Macy's or something where you put clothes on.
Yes.
This thing weighs 2 ounces, which is completely obvious because when Booker T then slams the mummy like it's a person on top of Knobs, its legs both snap off. Just
What am I gonna do about my legs, Eddie Murphy?
It's worse than the Bischoff's shoe with tinfoil that flies off at Starcade, man.
So then Booker T, after that devastating move with the mummy or
I
dummy,
think that ends it, right?
he pins him. 1, 2, 3. Stand up. Hey, Harlem Heat, tag team champs for the 10th time.
But it's not over yet, Ryan.
But hold on, folks. Not so fast. In fact, not so fast. 16 seconds later, because I counted, 16 seconds later, they still have not cut back to the ring.
Nope,
you
we
can
don't know.
hear the microphones wrestling in the ring. You hear moves like it's pounding. And then you hear wait a minute. Who's won? Wait a minute. No, we all just saw 16 seconds ago that they won.
Yep.
They still do not cut back to the ring, Nick.
Nope.
Finally, Harlem Heat, they just show them walk from the back down the aisle.
Yeah,
Here they
walking.
come. They never cut back to the ring. Shivani and Heenan are like, what happened? Who won? Who
They
won?
literally are. The ring announcer's confused. He doesn't know even who to announce who has won. He's like,
So
and this
finally-
isn't scripted, like they're confused.
Yeah. Oh, no, they have no clue what's going on. And it's like, well, Harlem Heat pinned them first, so they're probably the team that won. I'm not sure.
All right. And
Finally, they just give the belts to Harlem Heat.
To Harlem
And the
Heat.
fans, the fans, you've been
They're
to
so confused.
WCW shows. They don't show you what happened. They had that Jumbotron up there. They never used to put what was going on up there. So on Nitro or whatever, you never saw the interviews in the back. You had no idea what was going on. And so nobody knows. Harlem Heat finally wins. But Nick, this just goes to show you how. Now we hear Jim Ross and Shivani and other people have said they don't want to know the finish of matches because they want to, play it off like it's real. They want to be
that.
But doesn't your production staff, shouldn't they know what's going on,
Excellent question.
Shouldn't, I don't know, the director of the show have some idea? Hey, when this happens, you have to cut real quick back.
Make sure the camera's on the pinfalls, and things like that. Yeah, they're kind of crucial.
Lash LaRue, hey, he's going to beat up Disco as soon as this match is over. Make sure you stay on Lash LaRue so you get to see him. Did they not have a production meeting before this?
I don't know.
Did they not tell these guys?
I don't know.
And if they did, if you missed this many things, you probably shouldn't be doing your job.
You suck, pal.
I think it was more nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. I don't think you had one. Like I said, in WWE, you have Vince. Everything had to run through Vince, right? In the back, I bet Russo's writing. There's probably a production team that's not even talking to Russo really about what they're shooting. And then the wrestlers and the announcers aren't working together. Everybody's just in their own world. The right hand is not talking to the left, so they don't know what's going on. And it again,
talking to Mae Young's hand.
Yeah. God.
There's that. And that would be the beginning of many more to come. So now, here we go. Speaking of the beginning of much more to come, DDP's music hits, and Shivani goes, quote, "It's not on my format sheet for DDP to be out here, but I guess that's what's happening with his music." Oh, you think they're just playing it? Just tell the DJ to play it.
Cue the porno music.
So DDP comes out, and again, this is the beginning of this is not on our form. This is off the script, guys. This isn't scripted. So DDP comes out. He's wearing his $500 shirt. Kimberly is interesting to me. We didn't talk about her in the weeks before. She does the Diva Search stuff, the Nitro Girl stuff. She was the leader of the Nitro Girls. 2 weeks before this, Kimberly and Stacy Keibler is their Nitro Girl Search girl for the contest and everything. Perfectly normal. Does her normal thing. Hey, vote, go online and vote for one of these two girls. Okay. They go to commercial and come back, and all of a sudden, Kimberly is like a complete skank. She freaking gives David Flair her hotel room key and goes, "Hey, come to my hotel room."
And she's gonna try to roofie him.
Yeah. Then she tries to roofie him. She's like, "This will knock him out. It's got a thing full of pills." And you're like, "Where did this come from? You were just the Nitro girl a minute ago." Well, now she's like that here. They talk about what happened in the hotel room. If you've never seen it, Ric Flair is there, not David Flair. And he comes in and she says she got 14 spankings from Ric Flair. Well, that's just a warm up for DDP. So they have totally Russo'd her up.
Yeah, they are.
Completely Russo'd her up. Then DDP gets on them. And I want to ask you about this whole thing. This was actually a very good segment, I thought, until the end. And he's like, "Let me tell you, all the spankings, huh?" He goes, "You're in a hotel room with this," and points to Kimberly and says, "All you can think about is spanking it." So he's using a play on words, obviously. But then he says, "All right, well, that means I want to have a match with you, a strap match, and we're going to whack it and jack it all night long in the strap match." And then he takes the strap out and he goes, "I'm going to be whacking you." Now, obviously, this is complete Vince Russo, whatever.
Yeah.
But Nick, he rips on the guy 4 seconds ago for saying all you're thinking about is spanking it.
Yeah.
Now he's saying, "I'm going to whack you and jack you." And I'm like, what? You just completely defeated the purpose of what you just said.
You blew it!
You ripped on this guy, and now you are just as bad as him.
I don't even know what to say. Yeah, again, we're one a couple of you. I did not hate DDP as a heel. I really didn't. I like DDP. I didn't like him against the NWO just because I was an NWO guy. Not really anything bad against DDP. I thought the guy was pretty cool, especially when the NWO came. But yeah, this was just really weird. It's really weird how they do this with Kimberly. She's a face for the Nitro Girls, a heel with DDP. And when you go back, if you watch this, you'll probably hear that like whacking it all night long. Bet your A that I'm going to be whacking you. It's kind of fun, but like people don't realize it's so overdone. Like it constantly keeps happening with Russo. It's like everything is drawn back to inappropriate sexual innuendos.
Everything.
Man. It just is over the top, man. It's too much for me. Like I don't know, and I guess I was lame for that.
That's what I was going to say, Nick. We sound like a bunch of old dudes now. Well, guess what? I was 19 when this happened, and I thought it was too much.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. And again, though, like, okay, you made a play on words and everything, but then you just screwed yourself because you literally said the same stuff that you ripped on him for doing. Like,
yep.
So that's just bad writing to me. Like, I don't know.
It is.
So apparently we are getting a strap match now tonight. Here's another match. It was supposed to be a match, but no, it's Russo Mania. Russo Havoc, I should say. No, no normal
everything
match.
is a gimmick. Everything is a street fight. Rip off the gown, strap match, fall off a building, burn your opponent alive.
Pretty much.
Everything.
Okay. So now we have Saturn against Eddie Guerrero. This is like Revolution against Filthy Animals. That's the group that they're all in. Eddie comes down and he's wearing Ric Flair's Rolex. Again, you mentioned it before. Seems like everybody's feuding with everybody. Heenan says, yeah, it was probably hanging from the mirror of his Chevy. So there's that. Pretty good match as you would expect.
Yeah.
But I really didn't care. They tease again. Why are these guys fighting? They're teasing the Revolution breakup. They're teasing Rick and Eddie. So what are these guys fighting for?
Yeah, this is what I said. Ric Flair runs down. I don't know. Okay, Rick is feuding with DDP and Kimberly. Now he's involved in the Revolution and Filthy Animals angle too. He runs down, hits Guerrero with a crowbar. Guerrero wins by DQ. It just made zero sense to like. Why is everybody feuding with everybody, man?
And then Dirty Man Flair grabs Tori, plants one on her, super rough, and she smiles. So she's apparently a fan of Assault. So that was cool. She was excited about there. And then, dude, the best part about this, once again, no match ever ends without something getting screwed up. Match ends, he kisses Tori, and he leaves. Then all of a sudden, you see Rick running back down the aisle because he forgot his watch. The whole reason why this whole thing happened, his watch he gave to Heenan and said, hey, watch this watch, you know. And so then Rick comes. The whole purpose was to steal his Rolex back. Completely forgets it, has to run back down the aisle and get his watch from Heenan.
You're like the Undertaker forgetting the urn. You're like, what? Oh, wait, crap. Jeez, come on, guys.
That's the whole reason you're there.
It's like, I don't get that. And at this point, Ryan, I know we're only 3 matches in. There's so much backstage. There's so much going on. I'm pausing it going, whew, like, we got to be a good hour and a half, 2 hours into this sucker.
Wrong.
No, we ain't. It feels like you've been watching for 2 hours.
Yeah.
No, about an hour. Or so. Like
I did the same exact thing. I looked at I go, this has got to be over, and I'm an hour and 15 minutes into it.
You're like, what else can you do?
Well, Nick, and we haven't even talked about every single backstage segment that they've had. We missed Goldberg showing up. There was a few other things that happened that they weren't all that significant, so we're not talking about them.
There's a million of them.
Yeah, and speaking of Goldberg, they do go to Goldberg. He is pounding Sid here, and he did show up earlier in the day. It's like, where's Sid? Where's Sid? So the good guy jumps Sid, the bad guy, pounds him beyond bloody. He looks like Shawn Michaels in Hell in a Cell, Crimson Mask. Sid jumps up and screams, is that all you got? Is that all you got? Which, again, makes him look like the good guy.
Bogus!
Man, he can take punishment. Wow, look what he did. He looks like the good guy. Once again now, they cut back to the ring, and these transitions are so weird. They just go so quick.
Yes.
Like you can't even
like Sid will be in that. He'll be like, is that all you got? Is that cut away?
Boom.
And you're like, he wasn't done talking. Like,
right.
Okay.
It almost makes you wonder, like, why, whenever a WWF whatever guy does an interview in the back and then they push in on the interviewer just standing there staring at the person walk away. It almost makes me wonder if that's why they do that, because these cuts are so quick. You cannot process what's going on. I mean, It's like Blair Witch. What's happening here?
Even the Blair Witch people are like, hold the camera. Steady, like,
hold it up, brother. So here comes Buff now. After he got screwed the other day, he comes out and says, I got problems with those writers from up north. Jarrett comes out, so they brawl. Then Luger comes out.
Of course, why not? Why the hell not, man?
Luger, who's fighting Brett later tonight, he comes out
to
mess with Jarrett because Jarrett knocked out Liz a couple weeks ago, who got pummeled with a thing over her head. She's perfectly fine now all of a sudden. So then Luger comes out, tries to get even for hitting Liz, completely misses when he smokes Buff. Just and completely
the guitar doesn't break right. Shades of Jake Roberts. He smokes back with it. It looks like it really freaking hurt him.
Like hit him in the back of the neck.
Yeah, it did, man. It didn't break right, man. It was, oh my
Because he
God.
missed his head.
Everything goes wrong at this show, man. Like, oh my God.
Once again, Nick, Hurricane Havoc is what this should be called, because here we go again. We're not done yet. Now we cut back to Sid, who's getting stitches. He throws the doctor off and goes, let it bleed. As he's screaming, they cut to Eddie Guerrero, who's rolling around on a staircase somewhere for some reason.
He doesn't have a locker room.
No, he's not in his locker. He just decided to go lay on these steps wherever they're at.
Who he calls, I believe, Mysterio, who is supposedly incapacitated and unable to fight, but I need you, so get back to the building. You had the title stripped, but we can still fight.
And we didn't mention this during that match, too. They are selling a Conan hurt his arm for some reason, too. So they went to the hospital to take care of Conan. Why? Who knows? Because later when he comes back, he's fine. And the next night on Nitro, he's also fine. So he's laying on the ground, just going, Ray, you got to get back. You got to get back here, brother. You got to get back. And Ray apparently said, why? And he goes, we got to take care of filthy animal business.
I'll take care of horsemen.
I don't know if you could understand that because he was mumbling and rolling around on a staircase. So it really wasn't clear what he was saying.
Right.
Oh, forget horseman business, brother. We got to take care of filthy animal business. So
well,
this
thank
happened.
God the night's about to be saved. Ryan, he's the best wrestler in the world.
That's what I've always heard. Cut back to the ring to perhaps, and this is saying something, perhaps the cheesiest single guitar riff 80s cover band garbage.
Go with it. The soundtrack from your favorite adult movie, brought to you by the NWO.
And I didn't look at the card before we watched this. I'm like, who is this? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, I know this music.
I knew it. I knew it.
Brad Armstrong.
Brad Armstrong.
BA is coming to the ring. The dude is wearing an American flag gray sweatshirt that he looked like he picked up at Walmart on the way here,
Sweet.
like before he came in. I'm going to swing by Burger King. And you know what, man? I hear they got these flag shirts on sale at Old Navy. Let me get one of those. No. Let me get the Walmart version.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, why is he wearing that? Like, what's he doing? And then I realized after Berlin comes down. So he's fighting for America in this match.
Yeah.
He points to the flag when he's walking down the aisle and he goes, America.
In case you didn't know, like that is the American flag.
I thought that was Cuba's flag. I wasn't sure.
And dude, Berlin this match is like 2 seconds. Berlin just murders him, but loses.
Yep, but loses. He goes for his move, like a neck breaker or whatever it was. Brad holds onto the rope. Berlin falls. 1, 2, 3. That's it. You also have to remember the Wall is with Berlin at this point. You know, get it? Cause the Berlin Wall.
Yeah,
but his name is not the Wall yet. So they apparently hadn't come up with that clever stuff yet. He was just the bodyguard at this point. You know, it was further down the road. They're like, hey, you know what would be clever? The Wall, brother.
That's the wall up there, brother.
The Wall attacks him after. This is a whole lot of nothing. Chris Benoit, Rick Steiner, TV title on the line. Nick, I think this match, honestly, I don't care, whatever. This match may have single-handedly given Benoit CTE. He takes some rounds in this
he does.
match to the head.
Yes, he does. Benoit, he takes some live rounds. Goes, and dude, I don't know if you noticed, there's a shot on this. Benoit almost dies in this match. He's going to jump off the top turnbuckle and hit Rick Steiner with the chair. Rick Steiner is supposed to throw the chair up into him. It doesn't go up. It turns sideways. So if Benoit would have freaking landed on this chair, it would have been like that.
It would have impaled him. Yeah.
It would have freaking killed him.
But it still hit him in the head.
Yeah, it did. It still caught him. I mean, this match, I mean, it's not a great match. Steiner doesn't work real well, but again, Another run in. Here comes Malenko. He's
Swerve,
running down.
bro.
Swerve, bro. Comes down. You think he's there to help Benoit? No. Turns. They kick Benoit out of the Revolution. I think that's what they're called,
Yep.
right at that point. Here's the other thing. I think Steiner won the title. They don't talk about it. He pins him. There's no mention of the title, the television title. They don't say anything. I'm pretty sure he does walk off with it.
Nope.
But I
Cut to the back to Brett.
Yep. We don't know. It did. I think it was for the television title. Maybe we don't know.
Well, and we'll find out later in the night that the announcers absolutely have no idea what happens on title changes. So, there's that. Next match, another big one, Brett Luger. Brett's got a busted up ankle after the week before getting hit in the leg with the bat. Luger can't get his pants off when he's he's trying to, he's got tearaway pants on.
I love Luger too, man. Yeah, it was funny. He can't get the shirt. God, the shirts are too tight.
Yeah.
God! And the t-shirts are too tight too, Billy!
And these pants are too tight. Brett's over, though. When his music hits, dude, they cheer Brett. Even though, everything that has happened to him through this point, they still like it. I have no remembrance of this match whatsoever. It finally ends. Brett has to tap because he's in a half crab because he got hit in the leg, and they're selling the leg the entire match, and then Luger wins.
This is the only match on the card. People can say what they want. They may not have liked Luger. They may not have wanted Luger to win. It's the only match that's a match that makes sense. It really is, Ryan. There was an attack on Hart a previous Nitro. He smashed up his leg. Luger used that to his advantage in this match, targeted it, cheated it, did whatever he could, and he got Brett to tap out to that injured leg.
Yep. But knowing what we found out 2 months later, Starrcade, rebuild of the NWO and all that, what does this have to do with anything?
I have no idea why he's fighting Luger. I have no idea.
I
don't know.
And if he has to tap and everything and whatever, we're like, why did he beat Goldberg the next night if he's so incapacitated? I don't know. Goldberg then is in the back again.
Oh, Jesus, back to the pack.
And he kind of cuts a heel promo again. I'm going to rip his head from his body. Yeah, you just jumped the guy, so it's not really fair, when you win or whatever. Okay, another great one here. Then we cut right back to the ring. Here comes Medusa. Medusa with no clothes on, and she is pimping the Nitro cologne, which had come out whenever it came out. Nitro cologne.
Right.
Once again, if you remember, hey, we've been here before with Sonny and Sable pimping the WWF cologne back in the day and whatever. So once again, we have no ideas. Heenan is on commentary, as we've said. He just goes, if you smell this stuff, it stinks. It's horrible. The stuff is brutal.
And Shivani's trying to change the subject.
Stop on the highway.
Yeah, it does. It
smells like liquid kitty litter. He goes, it smells like the men's room at Newark Airport. Now, all of this is hilarious. But are you really... You're trying to sell some cologne?
I'm going to buy this cologne so I can smell like kitty litter?
I always loved that Newark Airport. Why would you do that?
Yeah. I have no idea.
She's mad because, once again, the new writers have made her come out wearing no clothes.
They're turning her into a sex symbol, not letting her just wrestle.
I'm a wrestler, and they're making me do this. You tell the superpowers from New York that it's all BS.
Superpowers.
That's what she said. The superpowers from New York, that it's all BS. Then she dumps the cologne on Heenan, and he goes, smells like manure.
Manure! I hate manure!
Again, you have this product. You just buried this product just for a 2-second joke on Heenan. Yeah. Hey, it'd be funny if Heenan got the cologne dumped on him. That'd be funny. Well, Okay. You ruined your product, I guess, at that point. But again, Nick, it's more of the writers. The writer, I'm not going to do what they told me to do.
It was all about, this was more to get the attention on. There are writers, there are cooks in the kitchen, there are fingers in the food, if you will. People are stirring the pot backstage. This is all predetermined. We've been told what to do.
Well, if you don't do your job, how about this? I don't know. You get sent home.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any other job I know, if you don't do what they tell you to do, you beat it. Okay, so now it really gets good. We have reached our main event area segments of the night.
Finally, 4 hours into this sucker.
Actually, about an hour and 25 minutes.
Jesus,
Sting versus Hogan, World Championship. Hogan's music plays for an hour. He doesn't come out.
But it's okay because that song's awesome.
Yeah, so then, it's the American-made song. So then Sting comes out. Champ comes out. He gets in the ring. They decide, hey, we're going to play the music again. Well, this time Hogan says, I guess I'll come out this time.
Come on now.
He comes out and he's looking like that 95 Hogan where he's wearing all black. He's got the black, not NWO black, but plain black, whatever.
He's upset about something. Yeah,
you can tell he's mad. He speaks to Sting face to face and then just lays down. Sting pins him 1, 2, 3. He gets up and he walks out of the building.
Wait a minute. We don't see him completely walk out because, again, they immediately cut away to Goldberg and Sid in the back. What is going on? Hogan just laid down.
The announcers say, hey, what happened? What happened? Boom. They start playing the Goldberg Sid pack.
And immediately. Goldberg Sid promo. I thought maybe when I saw this, okay, are they trying to sell this this wasn't supposed to happen and we got to cut away, that ended immediately because when they come back from the Goldberg Sid promo, the announcer's like, what the hell happened? Hogan, I'm like, what are we doing here then? Why?
Well, Nick, even then, during the package, they then cut back to the arena, a wide shot with the big pan cam, because they know they screwed up. Whoever did it hit the wrong button. So they cut to that. You can still hear the package, though, in the background. You can still hear the package, but it's about a 5-second shot of the arena. And then they're like, screw it, go back to the package. And then they cut back to the package.
Oh, my God.
And then, like you said, and the crowd's booing. They're ticked. The crowd's booing because they didn't get the match they were supposed to get.
This was a match they paid for. This was one of the premier matches.
Yep. So
this is the thing with Russo that he does, and Again, I am not trying to promote certain Vincent McMahon, but there is, when he says you don't advertise and not deliver, there is truth behind that, Ryan. I have paid to see something. The argument that we've always had with wrestling versus MMA and boxing, and I've used this in debates before. Okay, so you go watch a boxing match, you pay $150 freaking dollars, wada boom, bada bing, the guy's out in 2 seconds. You're out $150. I'm paying for a 3-hour wrestling program every time I pay for a wrestling pay-per-view. Even if it sucks, I get what was delivered. I get 3 hours of wrestling. Now you're advertising and not delivering to me.
So they go to Sid Goldberg. Goldberg's music is playing for an hour like it normally does, but it seemed like even longer, especially given they spent 100 times longer here than they did talking about the Hogan situation. We didn't get our main event. What's going on? Hall and Nash attack Goldberg on the way to the ring. Nash unbuttons his shirt and it says Outsiders NWO on it. He had that FUBU shirt on he was always wearing. Nick, my whole thing on this match is they once again, and again, you got a new writer. Maybe he has a different idea for Sid, but Sid's been the bad guy the entire time. He is just getting dealt on and dealt on and dealt on here, bleeding everywhere. He keeps getting up. He won't stay down.
And the announcers are pushing that.
The announcers just can't. I can't believe he's still going. I can't believe he's still going. And they go, this is superhuman. This is the darkest thing we have ever seen on a pay-per-view broadcast. I guess Shivani forgot all about 1995 when a guy no-sold death and fell off the Cobo Hall. I guess he forgot all about that. But Or, when Abby Knoll sold death when he got electrocuted. I don't know.
This match but I was actually looking forward to this, Ryan.
Mhm.
People talk about Sid. I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time, in my opinion, when you hear people talk about him.
They just crap on him.
People always talk, and I think it was JBL who said, if you were going to clone it, you're going to make a wrestler. It looks like Randy Orton. I would agree if it's 2004. If it's 1991, 2, 3, 4, if you're going to clone a wrestler and you're going to build him from scratch, it looks like Sid Justice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's perfect from head to toe, great looking, scary monster face.
Hey, yo, shut up!
Like Sid's all right in that ring. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, is he going to do an acai? No, I don't want to see Sid do an acai, but I will give Sid this. Who the hell got his music in WCW? I was like, is this Miami Vice? Like,
I think it's overdubbed. Yeah, I think it's overdubbed because you don't hear the crowd anymore. And usually when they do that on Peacock, so it was some kind of music they didn't have the rights to.
Okay, because I was like, what the?
Yeah, it doesn't fit at all.
Music.
No,
yeah.
No, it doesn't fit at all. But once again, they basically turn him face here.
Yeah.
And once again, Russo doesn't have any new ideas. They do the Brett Stone Cold WrestleMania 13 finish where the ref stops the match because not that he passed out. He falls over and then they call the match, but then he gets right back up again.
So, he tries to walk back to the ring after they take him to the back, Ryan. He's okay. And then I think later in the pay-per-view, they show him in the back. And he's not taken to the hospital or anything. He's back in the back. So
he's
why
cutting
the hell
a promo.
Again, more questions with Russo.
Yeah, and I thought this made Goldberg look bad. I mean, they told us Goldberg only won because he jumped the guy earlier in the night, and then he still couldn't finish the job. The guy kept getting up. So Goldberg kind of looks stupid, if you ask me. I don't know.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
All right, so Sting comes out. Sting says, once again, Sting's a heel, but he gets in the ring and he says, I didn't come here for a night off. I came here for a fight and I want to fight. So I'm going to do an open challenge. End of the night, somebody come out and fight me for the world title.
As a face would. I wrote right here, Sting turns back to a face, question mark?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. Is he a face now?
So Sting's a face now.
Nope, hold on though, Ryan. Let's keep going with the night.
Right.
He's a face now. He's a face now. He's like Kimberly. It's a Nitro Sting. Let's wait. This is so ridiculous.
So we got two more matches now because Sting's going to fight. DDP Flair strap match. I really don't remember this match at all either. Four corners match? No, they don't have that in this. This is just beat up your dude with that strap. This is another one where a million things happen. Flair is bleeding just as bad as Sid was. They don't say anything about it the whole time. No problem whatsoever. DDP hits the cutter.
Yeah.
After, a pretty good match, whatever.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Tony just keeps saying, this is nothing like we've ever seen.
All night.
All night long.
Oh,
DDP hits the cutter. Flair doesn't kick out. Little Nate is the referee. Little Nate then goes 1, 2, doesn't hit 3, looks at DDP, and then calls for the bell.
Rings the bell.
DDP looks furious. So once again, you don't know if this is script, this is real, what is this? Is this off the cuff? We don't know. DDP looks furious. So then he drills the little Nate, who only sells it for a minute. He gets up, he's fine. And then they just start dealing on Flair again, Nick. And David Flair comes out. They're all crying.
David gets beat down. No sells the beat down he got. He's okay in a second. And now him and Nate are crying over Rick.
Putting him on the backboard.
Sad. Yeah, it's really sad. They put him on the backboard. And then CSI Criminal Minds comes into play. As they take him to the back, the filthy animals are going to kill Flair. They abduct him in an ambulance, which we've seen before, Ryan. And while they're doing this, they're freaking recording their murder attempt on Kidman's camera.
Cam. And,
Yep.
the pay-per-view cam has it,
And
too.
the paper, yeah, because they took him out to this isolated part of the desert wherever they were that no one could find anybody except the cameraman that followed them there. And he panned too quickly and it showed the lights of the city right freaking next to them. Like,
Nick, you forgot. Grand Theft Auto. They steal the ambulance. They put him in, they knock him off the gurney, and then fire him into the back of the ambulance. And so they steal the ambulance on TV.
and then talking, no one will ever find him. We're going to take him where no one's going to. So they're going to kill this guy. Like, they're going to dump his body in the desert.
Casino style. Like freaking Danny DeVito, or what's Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. Yeah, Jesus God.
And then they show you the next night on Nitro, hey, let's look at our kid cam video. So they just told on themselves.
We don't have this, but here's the murder right on tape. Okay, I know it's not being investigated, but here's a murder.
I mean, what more could you do besides Grand Theft Auto and murder? I mean, what's next? Burning down somebody's house? No,
Or or shooting someone backstage, like executing them up against the wall.
oh my gosh. So
It's just- it's
so
so
they
bad.
take him, they steal the ambulance, blah blah blah. Oh my gosh, Ric Flair may be dead. All right, here comes Sting.
Maybe dead.
They just
We
cut.
don't know.
Or if he's not dead yet, they're about to kill him. All right, Stinger.
Yeah. All right, here comes Sting. All right. Oh my God.
So here comes Sting. And, Tony stumbles through like for 10 seconds. Wait, the title's not online. Is the title online? What's going on?
Nobody knows what the.
Nobody
Oh, God.
knows. Like, so he just, and Heenan just went on this big tirade about, wow, Goldberg has a chance to win both belts in the same night. He already won the U.S. title from Sid. Now he has, or whatever. Now he has a chance to win the world title in the same. Wait, title's not on the line? Is it on? Oh, okay. No. Once again, now we start the match. No, we actually don't start the match because some buffoon forgot to assign a ref to this match. And you can hear him going,
Ryan, here's the thing.
"Where's
It
the
will
ref."
it can't be Charles Robinson, dude, because we just watched him, the announcers. This is not my words. The announcers, it can't, well, we got to get a ref out here, but it can't be Charles Robinson because we just watched him. He's get beat up and he's in such a horrible state of mind. Here comes Charles Robinson.
And he slides into the ring like nothing, goes,
Yeah,
ring the
well,
bell,
good.
ring
My,
the bell.
my best friend just got killed in the desert. Ring
And
the
I
bell.
got diamond cuttered. No problem. I'm good.
God, dude.
Yeah. So this match is very short.
Yes.
Goldberg completely no sells like 5 big stinger splashes.
And
he gets
the
speared.
best spear in the history of wrestling. Sting lights him up with his spear and go. No.
Yep. Goldberg then gets up.
William Regal sitting in the back going, dude, you got to sell that better. It's like, it's just, Goldberg just stands up and murders Sting for the win.
Yeah, he wins. I think it's less than 5 minutes,
It is,
and he wins the belt. Or no, he doesn't, because the title was not on the line.
We
But
don't know, though.
maybe it's because Charles Robinson's still incapacitated from watching his friend die and then taking a diamond cutter. He hands the belt to Goldberg, and Goldberg is your world champion. So, okay, he's the world champ. And then Sting, who just totally did a face turn because, hey, man,
back to
I
heel.
want to fight. He then murders Charles Robinson with the Scorpion Death Drop. So apparently he's a heel again.
And we got to go.
And I already thought they made Goldberg look like an idiot. Now they kind of make Sting look like an idiot. He could have gotten out of here. He's a heel. Could have gotten out of here without fighting. And then he jobs to Goldberg in 5 minutes.
And when you say jobber, I mean, like you said, there, guys, folks, we're not exaggerating when we say this match is 5 minutes. Like, it is a quick freaking smash of Sting.
So We got a new world champion, I think.
Stay tuned for the following Nitro. Oh, and on the next Nitro, Ryan, they're going to try to set this up. And you said earlier, Russo does what he uses. We start a tournament for the belt. Ryan, what is Vince Russo most proud of in the WWE?
He says the greatest thing they ever did, the best story they ever told, was getting The Rock to have the belt at Survivor Series 1998. That whole couple of months lead up.
Russo goes right back to it. If you folks watch the following night on Nitro, they start the tournament, which is a cluster, you know what. Some matches are hardcore. Other matches are for the tournament. A woman fights a man. Medusa fights Ming. It's such a nightmare. But in the main event of the tournament, Goldberg faces Bret Hart, who was injured on this pay-per-view from Luger and previously from the previous week. The outsiders interfere and help him win that match. Now, at the time, I don't think any of us put two and two together, but what they are getting at, they are pushing toward this big swerve, a Hart heel turn. He's going to win the belt. The outsiders, he'll get help through this tournament, and they're going to reform the NWO. It's another Russo tournament, champion, belt, swerve.
And a reformation of the NWO, which I was not mad at when it happened.
I wasn't either.
But it's just the way they get to everything, which I think we hopefully described. We probably confused everybody as much as we were watching this, the way we were talking. But it's so confusing. Like, you can't keep anything straight whatsoever.
And like the other writers, we're often like, God, these WWE guys are throwing so much at the wall, hoping it sticks. Russo keeps throwing the same banana peel at the wall, hoping it sticks.
Right.
He's only got a 5-card hand. Like he doesn't have a lot of options of what he knows how to do.
Well, and what we said back in the day before we knew what the term hot shot, I always used to say that, like in 99 or whatever, when people, the Attitude Era is so great. I'm like, they just booked 2 years in 2 months. And I didn't know what the term hot shot was back then. Now we do. And I mean, that's all he does. And you run out of ideas and you have to keep, I always used to say, you can only see Terry Reynolds with so many dudes. She was literally with the entire roster.
Ryan, I remember talking to you and I'm like, man, Ryan, they have thrown people off bridges, run over trucks. They've done this, married this guy, divorced this guy. I was like, the only thing they haven't done is shoot someone. And you were like, Nick, they did that too.
That was the first thing they did.
I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the Pillman thing. Like, they literally freaking shot a gun off. Like, there is nothing left to do. You gave everything away. I mean, and some of it you went way too overboard. They crucified a man, for God's sakes. And a woman.
Stephanie. And the thing of it is, it's like anything. Like a swerve here or there is perfectly fine. But when you do it every single time, all completely loses its luster. It completely does. And that was this whole show. That something insane happened either at the very beginning or the end of every one of these matches.
And it's not Nitro. They're not changing the channel, Vince. I mean, I know his ideas don't let him change. That's why you do all this and you keep them watching. They paid $50, $60 for the pay-per-view. They ain't going anywhere, man. You don't have to do it on every freaking match.
Pretty incredible, man. This whole show did not age well. And speaking of that is one of our categories that we will talk about in the Ultimate Run Back, and we will do that right now. All right, Nick, I already said my funniest moment of the night, one of our categories. It was Mike Tenay being Professor White. Is that your funniest moment as well?
Right. I went with it because it was, folks, we do these fill out sheets. It's not hard. Maybe one or two categories you might have trouble to fill out, even when we do something like WrestleMania 9 or SummerSlam 95. These bad pay-per-views, they're easy to fill out. This was incredibly hard, right? Yeah. To find something that really was like laugh out loud funny. So I went back to Bobby. Bobby ripping on the cologne was funny to me. Yeah. Because you're trying to sell a product and one of your main dudes is totally beating the cologne down. I thought
And he had
that
some good lines too.
he
You
did.
know,
That's what made me laugh. Like it smells like liquid kitty litter or the Newark airport pad. Like those are funny. I don't think it was the greatest idea, the way to sell the cologne, but Bobby makes me laugh. That the Medusa cologne incident gets my funniest moment of the night.
yep. Okay, these are both going to be very hard. As you said, a couple of these categories were hard. We will start with the worst. What aged the worst on this show? There is probably a million things you can choose from to narrow it down.
I still think I want to say the easy one to me is Ric Flair threatening to hit Tori Wilson with the crowbar and then grabbing her and kissing her. I mean, these things, the announcers are all in on Flair's act. Oh, yeah, he just assaulted her. All right, man. You know, that
she likes
probably
it.
Doesn't age well, but we kind of say that like on every
That could be
pay-per-view.
anything, yeah.
What I think doesn't age well, it is this Crash TV and WCW. It just does not work. Not saying it didn't work in WWE. Sometimes things work in different places, different stars, different characters, whatever. These were not, Hulk Hogan is not a Crash television. Sting, Luger, Bret Hart. Maybe Bret could do some of it but these guys are just more typical wrestlers, you know, and it just, I don't know. The Russo Crash TV does not age well for WCW.
Yeah, I said that too. Just the constant changing of everything on this card. There was not one match, maybe the Goldberg Sid match, where something didn't drastically change. Hey, it's a strap match. Oh, wait a second. The belts are stripped and now it's a anything goes match. There was constantly, it was chaos. And again, we talked about it enough. You can't keep it all straight. That's the biggest thing for me. Aged the best. Once again, very hard to do since there was so much bad stuff. What aged the best on this show?
I'm going to hypocrite myself on this, Ryan, because of what I just said, aged the worst. Aging the best is WCW had to try something. They were done, Ryan. The summer of '99. Even when people we can rip on this pay-per-view all we want. There's nothing good that summer either, Ryan. It's not a good show.
Really.
What is age the best to me is trying to do something, trying something new. There were no life preservers. They had to call in a rescue boat. Now, did we know the rescue boat would be a U-boat coming in to sink the rest of the ship? No, but it turned out that was what it was. But I give them credit for trying. I do give WCW credit for not like throwing punches as they went down, right?
Yeah, I'm a somewhat hypocritical too, but in this show anyway, even though it wasn't good, at least they gave the crowd something at the end. They took away your Hogan Sting match. They could have just said, all right, the final match of the night is Sid Goldberg. Boom, here you go. And maybe that would have made him happy. But at least at the end, they did, even though it was 3 minutes and 8 seconds, they do give you Sting Goldberg for the belt, maybe or maybe not. So you could go home and look, well, at least we saw something. Oh, we did see. Right. So at least, but that's not saying much, man.
Oh, this was a struggle. What is age the best? This was a really hard one to get.
Big time. Big time. The line of the night. You mentioned the funny stuff with Heenan. Do you have a line?
That stole my today. I can relate. I'm sorry, I can relate. The gangster today is my line of the night. I can relate. He can relate to Booker T.
I had one of them, and then at the very end of the show, it completely changed my opinion. The one I had is Kimberly walks out, and she's wearing whatever she's wearing, green outfit. And Shivani says, "Is green your favorite color, Brain?" He goes, "It is now." I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's
until the end of the show. That was going to be my line. Goldberg wins. They have now told you it is for the belt. No, it isn't. Non-title match. They hand Goldberg the belt. And Shivani says, "Don't look at me. I guess he's the world champ." Just like that. Don't look at me. I guess he's the world champ.
That goes
and
right
that line sums up the entire night.
It does.
It sums up. Like, he could not. Shivani gets ripped on by some people, and other people think he's great nowadays because of who he works for. That literally summed up everything don't look at me, dude. I don't know what happened.
He beat Andre. It's right there.
Yeah, that's as good as any line of all
Yeah,
time.
it
Like,
is.
this night is such nuts. I don't. You could walk up tomorrow and say, "Hey, who's the champ? Babe Ruth? Okay, I don't know. I guess
There he
Babe
is.
Ruth's the champ." Crazy. Match of the night. What was the best match of the night?
I don't think it's gonna be a surprise that I picked this for anybody. Luger hurt to me, man. Again, is it the 5-star? No, Ryan, it's not anything like that. There's actually, though, a story. It's actually a match. There's a feud that started on Nitro. The ending makes it's the only non-crash course, at least for the duration, till the bell rings, and then here comes Jared. Or here comes other people. But it's just, I thought the match was good. I thought it was a good ending. I'm a fan of Luger. I'm a huge fan of Hart. I thought the match made sense. It was okay. It was normal. It was a wrestling match.
I didn't think the matches were that bad on this show at all. For as much craziness as going on, I thought the work was pretty good. So, I didn't have an issue with a lot of the work in the matches. I thought it made no sense why they turned Sid in the middle of this match and the night before and after, but I got Sid Goldberg. I was entertained by it. But why they did it, I have no idea why they did what they did. Like I said, what's the worst match of the night? I don't really.
Anything with Brad Armstrong. If Brad Armstrong is in the match, okay, this is what gets why I put the worst match in that, right? Vince Russo, this whole thing of him saying, you got to get the Flairs out of here. You got to get the Hogans out of here. We're sick of these old guard. Brad Armstrong gets to stay and win? Brad freaking Armstrong? Like, why is he even on this pay-per-view?
This is the best worker of all time.
Oh, for God's sakes. I'm sorry. This is why this was when I was watching this and this guy's coming down, I'm like, what in the hell? Like, why is he on the pull out freaking Juventud or Super Callow, for God's sake? Is he busy? Pull one of those guys out over Brad freaking Armstrong.
Well, they were going to make him, what was his name? Buzzkill, they made him. I don't remember exactly when they did that, but they made him Buzzkill shortly after this, making fun of his brother.
Yeah, he is a Buzzkill.
Right? You could literally pick anyone. I don't think that's a bad idea because it is Brad Armstrong. In Berlin, which did not work, and he was gone shortly after. Right? Yeah, Benoit Steiner, it wasn't a bad match. Bad. I just could not care at all about that match. And then, the worst ending, obviously, the tag match, the way that ended. So if you take any of them, I have.
So your answer is the card.
Yeah. What was the worst match? I believe it was Halloween Havoc. That was
it was all
of them. Double H. There you go. Both of these are kind of the same for me, and sometimes they are. What was the moment of the night? It's hard to pick.
Okay. Ryan, I just say this because it made me perk out of my chair. The Outsiders coming out of nowhere and jumping Goldberg on his way down to the ring. I kind of was losing this pay-per-view. I'm like, Jesus, please move this forward. They hadn't been on it, and here come, and you know how we feel about the Outsiders, Hall and Nash. We're huge fans, and when they came out, I just wrote this on there. It was the only time I actually perked up during this pay-per-view. I thought they would explain and build on it a bit more, but to me, that was the coolest moment. Okay, the Outsiders are here. That was my favorite moment, seeing them jump Goldberg.
I'm going to go 2 for 1 on this because I have the same thing. And it doesn't mean it's good, but it was, to me, the moment of the night and the most rewatchable thing, mainly because it was only 3 seconds long and everything else took forever. Hogan laying down. Doesn't mean it's a good moment, but it was the moment to me because you're like, what just happened? What in the world? And you did, unfortunately, as bad as they did after that, it did make you want to see what was going on. I got to watch tomorrow to see what's going on because he just laid down. What
we hadn't seen that before. Yeah, we didn't. I mean, we saw like a finger poke of doom, or I think Michaels lay down for Helmsley in a European match or something like that previously. But we hadn't seen
But that all made sense, though, because they were boys and they were just giving the belt to the other guy.
This was, again, playing in, breaking my character. I'm not going to work with the writers. I'm going to lay down. I'm out of here. And even though it didn't work, we're going to try it again this summer.
And Hogan was wearing his black again. And you're like, what's he doing wearing all black again? So
that's my rewatchable moment, too.
Is it?
I'll piggyback and get, the Hogan was rewatchable. Yeah.
Maybe. Who won the night, Nick?
Who do I have?
We didn't. I know that.
I got two, and I don't know which one. To me, it's probably Goldberg. They did build him up. He does win the belt. He walks out with this. My guess, though, Russo fans, you now get to watch this on the other network. If you were a Russo fan, if you like, because I'm looking at it from not my point of view, you're asking me who won the night. If you were a Vince Russo guy, you probably liked what you saw. You got Crash TV. You got the old guys getting Hogan, Flair, get the frick out of here. You got this craziness happening all over. You got smut and bra and panties coming at you now, and I think Russo fans maybe have won the night on this, that their era is now here in WCW, or trying to start. We didn't know it would end.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. I do remember watching this at my boy's apartment in college, and everybody just sat there when this got done and was like, what on earth just happened? Like, what did I just watch? And one dude did love it because he was a Goldberg fan, and Goldberg wins at the end. He was like, that's great, man. What a great night. And everybody's like, you're crazy. What's wrong with you? But I say Sid, because I didn't even think about looking at it the way you just did. But, probably who won the night is, you're right, your Eddie Guerreros, your Billy Kidmans, your Chris Benoit's, because they did get put in big angles. They were told this night, with what happened, that they were going to get pushed. That they were, even though it might not be main event, but they're going to mean something on this show. And the Filthy Animals and Revolution, they were doing stuff in the summer as well.
Ryan,
but now there was
the next Nitro is Filthy Animal Nitro. Yeah. They're in like every 15 minutes. It's like they're Austin. Mm-hmm. They're in like every 15 minutes. They're in the back with the Filthy Animals on the next Nitro. Go watch it, folks. It's really weird. They take the show over.
I would think, now that I'm thinking about it even more, even though like individually, I think Sid won the night, the way they pushed him.
So he's giving that.
But grand scheme of things, probably the young guys, the smaller dudes, those groups probably won the night. The legacy of this pay-per-view is how we always wrap it up, Nick. What will the legacy be?
It's the beginning of the Russo era in WCW, and it's the beginning of the end of the Russo era in WCW. It's everything. You can see it's not going to work. They look like a cover band for Raw, right? That's what I keep saying. Why am I gonna watch the cover band when the actual Guns N' Roses is playing right over here? I don't want to see the cover band
for the same price.
For this, yes, it's on at the same time. That's what I think it is. The legacy. It's the beginning and the end of the Russo era, really, to me.
I got very similar, but different. This is the end of WCW as we know it. They literally killed Ric Flair, but like all the Southern fans, you saw it. When WCW went over, they were still getting 2 million viewers a night, 2.3, whatever it was the rating, not even the viewership. Those people did not go watch Raw when WCW went under.
They didn't want to.
They didn't. Yes. So they wanted, whether you say it's Southern wrestling or whatever, they wanted what they were getting, even though it wasn't as good as it was 3 years ago. They did not want Russo Mania. They did not want smut Crash TV. And this was the beginning and the end of all that. This is a total different era here. And, this is the start of it. This pay-per-view was the end of WCW as we know.
That's a great take, because we talked about that actually a couple weeks ago. Like when the NWO forms at Bash at the Beach '96, what's kind of special about that is the big fans aren't there yet. It's still just the WCW fans, which made the heel turn of Hogan Hall on that. Because had it been a massive, your 5 and your 6 ratings on Nielsen, that pay-per-view may not go as like they might get cheered, or something like that.
Yeah.
They're booed out of the bill because again, you can say what you want. The wrestling fan. Well,
they wanted the Horsemen, man. They wanted Brad Armstrong. They didn't want the up north guys.
You got it. Yep. That's what. Yep. And I think, there is something to be said about that. You're right on that, Ryan. Yep.
And there's one thing if you're the up north guy and you're Hulk Hogan. There's another thing when you're up north guy and you're Ed Ferrara. They're not even. You know what I mean?
No, not quite.
Anything else, Nick, before we wrap this sucker up?
No, it's one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life, Ryan. Hey, I mean, it's really hard to pick one. I'm sure maybe there are some. I mean, WCW is, as much as I do love WCW, it is loaded with some bad pay-per-views and some bad matches, man, throughout the years. So I'd really have to take a good look at what was the worst. But
it's in the conversation.
It is certainly in the conversation.
Well, if you like circuses, you can just pop this on Peacock and check it out because it is exactly that. Everybody, we appreciate you as always for checking us out. Thanks for making it all the way through. If you did, going a little bit longer on this one because there is so much here.
It feels that
show.
long. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance, I mean, interrupt you, Ryan. If you thought this was kind of a crash course and maybe you thought it was funny, please check out our Halloween Havoc, our top worst matches of all time in Halloween Havoc history. There's some stinkers, man. And I don't think any are from this particular.
They're not.
I don't think any are from this particular pay-per-view.
It tells you how many other bad ones.
There are. Yeah, go spin the wheel and get that coal miner going, man.
At the very least, you'll get a good laugh out of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Not maybe just because of us, but because there is some absolutely hilarious
Dude, mine
things.
and your finishes, the top 2.
Oh,
Ryan,
it's incredible. It's incredible how bad some of those are. But no, we appreciate it. And check that out. And also, let us know what you thought. I know there are some people that do like Russo and what he did, and they still do to this day. If you are, let us know in the comments. If you got something else to add, we would appreciate that as well. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and until next time, job, guys. Out.
You smell something, it's us, because we're the stuff.